Hello Kirby World, and welcome to another edition of Recruiting with Randy. You know, we recently got back from an FD meeting in Vegas where there was a lot of content and a lot of discussion about recruiting and what it would do for FDs and DTs and how they could grow their companies. In fact, one of the topics I talked about was the power of people, because it's really no secret. You've heard me say this before many times, that Kirby's not product driven. Yes, we have the best product to market to all of our customers. We always have and we always will, because of Kirby's commitment to giving the field the best product to sell and market to our customers. So we're really not product driven. We're not even really sales driven. Yes, we talk about sales on Sell the Kirby Day. And of course, we're measured by our success by sales at the end of the month. And we have quotas that we meet and Pro Club attainments. But Kirby really is people driven. And it's the power of people that drives every organization, from however small or large they are, from the DT level to the FD level. The ones that have the largest dealer power always sell the most Kirbys. So the power of people comes from recruiting. And as I mentioned, the context and conversation we had at our big FD meeting was really focusing on recruiting, from the DT level to the FD level. Really, it's not a secret when I look at the top FDs in the world, both domestically and internationally, it's always the one that has a full-time recruiter and has the largest sales force that sells the most Kirbys. So the power of people really is relevant when it comes to who's going to be number one, both domestically, internationally, or even in each division. So we break it down to some simple things, all right? The content that we were talking about is we want to recruit, we want to promote, so we can prosper. So when we recruit, I can just also tell you this. The size of your market has to really dictate the size of your guarantee. I'm not going to get into the specifics, we'll do that later, but I recently was talking to a divisional supervisor. He was running a very large guarantee, and because he ran a large guarantee, all of a sudden he had over 100 contacts and had set over 50 plus interviews. So it became very apparent that in his market, a large guarantee was going to attract a better quality dealer and more quantity of dealers. And he just couldn't believe the impact it was making both in his division and his organization. So something to think about when recruiting. Look at the size of your market, the guarantee, and what it would take to sustain, I'm going to say, a comfortable lifestyle in that market. It's going to be much larger than what a lot of us think, which is why we have to think bigger when it comes to guarantees. Because I've always expressed to people in my workshops, if you want to catch a big fish, you need big bait. So the bigger the guarantee is going to actually attract a quantity of quality candidates that you're going to be able to interview and you're going to be able to recruit. That's going to allow us to start to promote. Because really, when you're recruiting, what are you selling? I know the guarantee attracts people when they first come in, but people really aren't just looking for a job. I know you've heard the statistic maybe before that I said that 93% of people working today in the United States are actively looking for a new opportunity. A new opportunity means they want something different, something more rewarding, and something more financially stable for themselves and their family. So your guarantee is going to have to be competitive with whatever they currently have, because they are working, which means they have to give up what they have right now to come to something they feel is going to be better in those areas. So you're really selling opportunity. They don't just want a job. They're looking for something more rewarding, more challenging, and can provide a bigger lifestyle for themselves and their family. That's where the promote comes from. If we start to sell more than just a job and talk more about the opportunity that Kirby provides, you're going to attract and retain more people through your recruiting process. And then that's what's going to allow us to prosper. Because if we want to grow the company to over 1 million units a year, what we have to start to think about is, there's a great book I recently reread, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of the habits is begin with the end in mind. So if I want to grow my organization to 100, 200, 400, 500, even 1,000 sales a month, I have to think bigger and think with the beginning with the end in mind. I know I'm going to need a lot of dealer power to do that, which means I'm going to have to start to retain people through recruiting and promotion. I know if we do that, we're going to grow the company to a level that's never been seen before by Kirby. And Dan Blaylock talks about it a lot, would like to get to 1 million units a year, which is a very attainable number if we understand the power of people in Kirby. So yes, we have the best product to market to people. Yes, we have the best opportunity, bar none, for people that are coming in. If we sell the opportunity, people are going to get retained. But we have to understand that we can't get more from less. Trying to sell more Kirbys with less dealers isn't going to work. We need more dealers in every organization, no matter what size you are as a DT or FD level. Because what differentiates a high volume distributor from a distributor who's just beginning to grow is a full-time effective recruiter. So make sure that you're taking advantage of all the tools we have at World Headquarters. Make sure you're on Kirby Disnet, downloading all the videos and, of course, the new PowerPoints and all the support material we have. If you can, get to a workshop here in Cleveland. Spend 2 days with myself and Mark Hilo, and if Chris Fogg is here and Daniel Blaylock, going through a recruiting process from contact to countdown that'll make you an effective recruiter. And don't forget, as always, we talk about Kirby Life. And Kirby Life, is one of the most successful ways to recruit the most talented people, because people coming in on a Kirby Life program aren't coming in for a paycheck. They're coming in for an opportunity. They have the passion that's going to create the paycheck that's going to make them more successful, because the person bringing them in has already recognized the Kirby opportunity. So keeping those things in mind will make you an effective recruiter and will help us grow to, in 2026, to help us grow to numbers that that Kirby hasn't seen in a long time. So let's finish 2025 with a huge push. We have a push month coming in November. Right now, your push month starts by recruiting a quantity of quality dealers, retaining them, and promoting so we can prosper. If we do that, we're going to enjoy one of the greatest years Kirby's seen in 2026. So we'll talk more about that with upcoming Recruiting with Randy's. Until then, I wish you all the success in the world, and please contact us if you have any questions on how and we can help you become a more effective recruiter. Until then, good luck, and we are positive.